Hey guys, it's time for another one-year review. This time we'll be taking a look at last year's Newfound Glory album, Resurrection.
You're 21 and shaded. Well, I'm just trying to.
So Newfound Glory are pretty much the kings of pop punk. They basically almost started the genre back in the 90s, carrying on legacies of, actual punk bands and more melodic punk bands. And they kind of weren't exactly that kind of skater punk or mall punk that bands like Sum 41 or Blink 182 were doing. They were just pure pop punk aggression mixed with emotional lyrics at times, simple punk riffs and drumming, and they've kind of always been the go-to for the pop punk genre. That's a band you always kind of mention when you talk about pop punk is Newfound Glory. And the reason I'm talking about their past here is because what I talk about with the review of Resurrection is that it feels like we've been here before, that this is an album that they've given to us before. It's pop punk 101. It's got all the just makings of a pop punk album. In itself, it's fairly generic, but this is one of the few times I'm going to use the word generic not in a negative way. It's just, again, something that we feel like they've delivered to us before, which, since they do that whole pop punk thing so well, it comes off as a very well done album. However, it's also kind of one of its biggest downfalls because it just gets boring after a while. Some of the songs feel like, we've been here before, we've heard this, even on the same album we've heard this, and it just, none of the songs really resonate too much with you. They're not really going to stay with you after the fact. There's no bad songs on this album. They're definitely all good songs on this album. I would say there's not really a bad track necessarily on this album, just more boring. There's some that are going to get you pumped up and get you energetic. Like One More Round is a great song on this album. The Opener is a great song. And you've got guest vocals from like Anthony Ranieri, a bass side on this, and overall it's just got a lot going for it, but it's never reaching for anything great. It's comfortable where it is. That's not a bad thing for this album because, again, they are basically the kings of the pop punk genre, and they've been doing this for so long that they can deliver something like this with excellence. So 1 year later, how does it stand up? It's still, there's a lot of songs I still listen to off this album. I don't particularly listen to it as a whole all that often, but I definitely would say there are a lot of songs that I do pull out from here. It's definitely a good album to listen to when you are in the mood for something just pop punk and fun. In their catalog, it's not really a standout. It's there, it exists. It's not, sticks and stones. It's not Catalyst, but it's definitely there. It definitely shows what they can do, just trying to do pure pop punk music. For that, it does what it does very well. It's competent, and I think it's an album where it's probably not going to be remembered as the best Newfound Glory album, but it's not going to be remembered as something that's particularly bad in their catalog. So, a year later, I would say that I still do recommend listening to this album if you are a fan of pop punk music.